Hello, beautiful souls. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're on the world, whatever time of day you're watching this. Welcome in. This is a pick a card specifically for the hidden worlds, unlocking what is unseen so that it can be seen for you. This could have to do with your unconscious. This could have to do with just anything that you're not aware of in your life at this moment, or anything that you really just need more guidance on that needs to come to the surface. So we have two piles to choose from. The first one is this cherub. All right. And the second one is the fairy. So if you need a second to pause the video to choose your pile, you can go ahead and do so. Otherwise, I will see you in your reading. Okay. Pile number one. Welcome in. Thanks for choosing me and my team of light to help you better understand what is going on. So let's see what we got for you. We have wisdom. The Rose of the World, number 42. That's interesting. The Aurora Garden, Beginning, Initiate, and Origin. Success, love that. Softly, Softly, the Tender Touch. The Lady of the Mirror, Reflection and Non-Judgment. And lastly, we have Proceeding Softly. That's My Inner Power Grows in Moments of Gratitude. Two different decks. We're talking about needing to be softer with yourself, surrounding yourself with the gentle energy and being gentle on yourself as well. Not just external forces and external influences, but also the internal forces, the internal influences. How are you judging yourself? I think that's the question. That's what's really hidden right now. Are maybe habits or just actions that you take, things that you think, right? Things that you do and things that you think when it comes to yourself, the man in the mirror, right? Are these thoughts and actions positive or negative? Are they even authentic? And not only that, also thoughts and actions towards the judgment of others or the judgment of life in general. There is that question. Now, you're going through an initiation phase, and that's why you're handling a lot of things in the void. All right? The beginning, the start, fresh, clean slate. There feels like a path to abundance and leading to the success, which is either requiring or it's leading to excess emotions and the release of those excess emotions. That doesn't surprise me. I mean, anytime you go on a new path, right, there's a lot of feelings involved, a lot of deep emotions that can come up. So that's not really a surprise there. But what might be a surprise is the specific emotions that are coming out. So that's why the guidance here is to proceed softly. To let the inner world lead your external world. Your inner world is actually what is hidden here. That's what this feels like. Needing to let anything that you've been holding on to or anything that you have not let come out, let it come out. I just feel like I need you to let it all out. I need you to lay it all on the table and just release everything. Because again, a lot of the stuff that's hidden right now, a lot of the stuff that's unseen, are feelings. Look to the origin of that. Go back to the start. Get to the root of why you feel the way that you feel, and you will find success there. I think that the feelings are tied to success and abundance. What are your thoughts and what are your actions when I use the words of success and abundance? Right? What do you immediately go to? How do you immediately think? What do you immediately do? If I say you are successful, you are abundant, how does that make you feel? Do you feel doubtful? Do you feel angry? Do you feel sad? Do you feel confident? Do you feel ready? Do you feel like in agreement with it? What is going on there? Because there's a need to take a non-judgmental path. Do not judge your current success and abundance and your current path to success and abundance on the past or the future. That's the thing. It's not just about the past, because You can't get 10 steps ahead. You can't think 10 years from now. You have to think right now. On this current beginning start to the path of success and abundance, right? What is the wisdom there? Are you using your wisdom to the full potential? Now, this wisdom card, for me, the Rose of the World, she specifically gives feminine energy, more tied to the creative power of the natural cycle of women. So either you're watching because you are a woman, or you have a very influential woman in your life who you can ask for guidance and wisdom. This could be a feminine spirit guide as well, but it doesn't have to be in the physical world, in the material world. I think as a society, I feel like I should tell this group this for some reason. I think as a society, and I always think on this, how it is a society built from man's point of view. It is, and that's not being sexist, right? Because if a woman were to, I don't know, set a work schedule, most women would request or suggest that we take those couple of days a month to relax and not force ourselves to do things when we're going through our natural cycles. I don't know, a lot of women that I speak to have that opinion. I'm not saying that everybody has that opinion, but most women would generally agree that it would be easier, excuse me, to deal with life if we could give ourselves that space, and if we could give ourselves that the few days or however long to get back into an equilibrium. But that's not the truth, right? Excuse me, and I'm struggling to speak because there's something here about the women's suffrage and struggling as a woman to make it through, which is very interesting. I don't know if that's been coming up a lot on the channel about being a woman and how to feel like a woman, which I don't know if this is the path that we might be taking on the channel, but I obviously have men on the channel too, or however you identify. I shouldn't just be assuming anyone identifies as anything, but yeah, there's definitely something here about the power of being a woman and honoring your natural cycle, natural rhythm. I was reminded of that yesterday looking I think it was just across the TikTok, I can't remember, but there was a video of someone bringing up the fact that April Fool's Day was called April Fool's Day because whoever thought that April was still, the spring equinox was still the beginning of the year, which is what it's supposed to be, was a fool, because the Gregorian calendar was set in place simply because of ego from Julius Caesar, who started it, and Augustus, for adding extra days in the months, not making the days make sense. And it was really just based on taxes and when you were supposed to pay taxes. So the real new year, of course, is the spring equinox, right? So I'm saying that because within your hidden world, there lies the following of the natural rhythm and cycles of not just your body and you as a person, but the natural rhythm and cycles of life, right? Most people talk about, seasonal depression. Let's use that as an example. And they're always wondering, why am I seasonally depressed? Well, this is the season. This is the natural cycle of being a hermit, wanting to just, cozy up by a fire, read a good book, hibernate. Even though we aren't naturally people that hibernate, or naturally animals, I should say, that hibernate, like, say, a bear, right? We do have that part of us that wants to hibernate. So following the cycle, following the rhythm, following what feels right in the moment because it's part of your routine, then do it. Because your hidden world is screaming at me right now, saying, why are you forcing yourself to be out of alignment of what is natural for you? You're almost forcing yourself to do unnatural things that don't feel natural to you. I know I said natural like 7 times. But yeah, and also when you're going through those unnatural things, cycles, actions, thoughts, whatever, not judging yourself, like being softer with yourself, not being too hard on yourself, because we tend to do that as Starseed Lightworkers, Wanderer Souls. We tend to like be too hard on ourselves and like, why can't we force ourselves into the Matrix? Like, why can't we force ourselves to be this way? Why is everybody else okay with it? Why does everybody else seem quote unquote normal and I'm not? Like, not thinking those thoughts because you're different. All right? You're different. So you handle things differently and you require different things. And so then that leads also to the success and abundance, because somebody else's path to success and abundance is obviously going to be different than your path to success and abundance. So why put yourself through anxiety, fears, and stress twice? Why do that? Why do you feel like you need to subject yourself to that? Why do you feel like you need to subject yourself to judgment? Not the right judgment, right? It's hard for you right now, right? As an initiate, going through the Aurora Garden, that card is here for a reason. It's interesting because it's a card of wisdom, and you have it twice in 2 different decks, and then you have the need to be softer with yourself in 2 different decks, and then you have reflection in 2 different decks. So the story here is, well, you know what? Actually, that's what it is right there. The story. What stories are you telling yourself? What stories do you feel are solidified within the roots of your being and are not allowed to be rewritten simply because of the judgment of the world, of the reality of the world, or of the influences of your environment? Why do you feel like you cannot pick up that pen and rewrite your story? Because you have a lot of wisdom and you're not allowing it to unfold. You're retreating. You're hiding from your own truest version of yourself, which is blocking your success and your abundance. It is not allowing the unfoldment. That's interesting that I'm using this thought process here, because I've been kind of picking apart at Hermeticism and Gnosticism and things of that nature. I've been reading stuff like that. So how do you unfold and allow the natural unfoldment of your truest self instead of folding in? You need to fold out. Does that make sense? Am I making sense to you right now? Stop hiding. All right? Because what's in the hidden is you. That's the most incredible part of this message for you. You're trying to figure out what am I not seeing? What's hidden? You. You are hiding. All right. I hope that helped. Thanks for tuning in. I love you. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget to be the best version of you and allow that best version of you to shine, because we need you. All right? Have a great day. All right, pile 2, you chose the fairy. So actually, I feel like just because you chose that, I didn't say this for pile 1, but I feel like you might be working with the fairy realm, which can mean a few different things, but yeah, I feel like I don't really need to explain it to you. So, moving on. Raise your frequency, activate the 12 strands. Wow. You've got the crow spirit animal as well working with you. Not ravens. I don't know why I'm like getting the correction there. Not ravens, crows. So I'm actually going to be releasing around the same time as this reading. I'm going to be releasing a spirit animal reading. So if you get the crow in that, I'll giggle. But anyway, water spirit, emotions, memory, and life force. Banish a curse. I'm already understanding what's hidden here. Shock of the new. Sun dancers, joyful activity, celebration of life and abundance. And flying free. I unfurl my wings and fly. Yeah, maybe you just have more than one bird spirit animal, but you got the birds. You definitely have the birds here. Okay. What's unseen for you? What's in the void? What's hiding there? Trying to come out is not a very nice thing. How can I say this, spirit guides? Okay. I don't know how many other Harry Potter nerds are watching right now, but In the Deathly Hollows, part 2, or in the book itself, actually, also, Harry passes away technically, right? And then he goes into kind of in the in-between worlds, and he sees Dumbledore there. And then what they see is this weird, jumbled mess, which is a part of Voldemort that was within Harry. So, metaphorically, it's a darker side, right? It's just this dark blob of negative emotions, of negative experiences, of just a shell of what used to be a very powerful Dark Lord. That's in Harry Potter kind of similar to what I'm seeing here. Okay? It needs to be loved. It needs to be nurtured. It needs to be acknowledged that it's there. 1555 on the camera when I'm talking about this. Mercury number. That's why this Banish a Curse card is here. Which is almost ironic because a part of that blob that I'm seeing that's hidden within your world feels like you are cursed. Like you are unlucky. Like things are just always a mess. It's just it's a sad emotion. I think it's an emotional blob, and that's why the water spirit is here, because it is kind of, maybe it's shocking because you didn't know it was there, or you thought you healed it. Here's the thing, we don't fully heal anything. I'm sorry. I know that a lot of the people in the spiritual community want to, make it look like, oh, you got to get to 100% healed. That's complete BS. You will never be 100% healed. And that's okay. That's the beautiful part about being a human. I don't know why we feel like we have to be these perfect beings. We're not. It's comical to let people think that you can be this perfect person, this perfect enlightened spiritual being. Bullshit. That's not the point. The point is to be here in the physical, earthly, human experience. So you ain't never going to be perfect. Right? Okay, maybe that's got to do with your blob. I'm calling it a blob. I don't know what else to call it. It's this blob of negative emotions. So setting yourself free from it, but also setting yourself free from the responsibility of it. Because you can acknowledge negative, unhealthy, darker sides of you, right? And I mean everybody in general. I'm not just saying like specifically just you, but what I'm saying is you can acknowledge those sides. You can nurture those sides, you can love those sides, but you don't have to associate yourself with that side, right? Because especially if it's something that was older, I feel like that's the not detachment. That's the liberation, fly free, the liberation from it of, I have to carry this. No, you do not. Again, you could send love because it needs it. It needs a voice. It needs to talk. It needs to express itself and say, this is why I exist. This is why I'm here. This is why I need you to help me. And you can. But you do not have to identify it. Thank you. Not identify it. Do identify it. Do not identify with it. That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you, Spirit Guides. It doesn't need to be your identity. This is the kind of heaviness of like trauma victim or sexual abuse victim or an addict or just a very heaviness. It's a very dark, heavy blob. Because we tend to incorporate that in our story of our life, right? Like, and I catch myself doing that. I'll be like, hi, I'm an alcoholic. Or hi, I'm an ex-drug addict. And I will catch it and I'll be like, that's the key word there, ex. I don't feel like alcohol or drugs will control my life. I used to be, but that's not a part of my current self. It is a part of my past self, and so therefore I will carry it for the rest of my life, but it is not a part of my current self. And that's the kind of mentality that you need to carry with you, have, okay? You can carry those past versions because they're never going to go anywhere, right? Healing does not mean disappearing. It does not mean, because actually that's kind of like the spiritual ego that comes in, right? That cockiness, that arrogance of like, oh, I can make this all disappear with the wave of my magic wand. No, that's not how that works. It will be there forever. It is a wound that it has scarred over, okay? And the scars are the reminders of those memories that are tied to it. That's why you've got the crow. Yeah, because the crow is a good spirit animal that comes around for cleansing that negative energy, but ushering death, right? Welcoming death of this is the death of this past memory, this past version. But death is still there. When something dies, the memory of that death is still there, and the energy is still there. Do you get what I'm saying? I hope I'm making sense here. You will be shocked of this new version of yourself once you tap into the void, look into that unseen, and say, I am free of this blob. I wish I could come up with a better word of it. This cluster, this congregation of negative trauma. And that's also why the Sun Dancer is here. I haven't even talked about the Sun Dancer. The Sun Dancer, to allow you to banish this curse, says incorporate the joy. Incorporate the sun. This could literally be go out and get some sunlight, right? This is the season now. We can start sort of getting, I mean, not in upstate New York. We had a nice little like week there where it was warm and it's still 30s basically, but it's okay. The sun is coming out more. But also metaphorically and spiritually, incorporating spiritual joy, spiritual bliss. I have said it for how many years? Bliss is the path of ascension. Bliss. Where is your bliss? What is your bliss? How can you incorporate more bliss? Simply, what makes you happy? What makes you happy? Because how do you negate that negative? You fight it with positive. I know. So cliche, but duality of life. You cannot weigh yourself down with this blob of negative trauma and pain and identify yourself with that. No longer are you going to do that. From this day stepping forward, now that the unseen has become seen for you, you will now say, this is who I am without this trauma. When you think about yourself without the trauma, who are you? How do you think about yourself? How do you speak about yourself? How do you act on yourself without that? And if you say, Gigi, I have no idea who I am. Beautiful. That's good. That's liberating. When we don't know who we are, it's kind of liberating because it's almost like starting with this blank canvas. You could start over. That's why people are, they go, well, it's their natural Jupiterian cycle of 12 years, but also people every 12 years or so, you will notice they want to completely like uproot themselves, move to a different state, move to a different town, move to a different country and start over. They do that. Usually it actually coincides with some kind of Martian influence too. So, here's what I want you to do. This is your homework. This is your homework. Because you have a natural ability to write too. Let me just say that. Okay, you can write your feelings out. You're a writer, a poet, I don't know, something. Okay. Maybe you write music. I don't know. Let me move on. In order to activate those 12 strands, it's to raise your frequency. Raise the frequency. I love that it's called raise, right? Because it's not in a very judgmental way of like, oh, low frequency means bad. Okay? Because there is no fucking bad and good. There just isn't. There just is. Of course, easier said than done, obviously. But there just is. So in order to activate those 12 strands, I need you to sit down, write. I need you to write. Write out your feelings, write out your emotions, write out your life force, write out your memories, write out your trauma, write out all of it. Just write it. Just write it until you feel like you can't write no more. All right? This could take one day. This could take 1 week. This could take a year. I don't care how long it takes. You need to start setting yourself free. I hope this helped. Thanks for tuning in. I love you. Have a wonderful day. And I'll see you in the next one.